Hello Pisces friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my March 2020 horoscope report for you. We've got birthdays this month. We have the beginning of the new astrological year, which is very exciting, which is also very quickly followed by the first new moon in the astrological cycle of the astrological new year. And all of this means new beginnings. So here we are in the midst of a year that is very much covered with personal planet retrograde energies. If you've been watching my work for a while, you understand what that means. If not, I have plenty of resources to help you understand that. And I will be referring to that word retrograde quite a lot over this year. But in any case, retrogrades bring the energy inwards and backwards. But at the end of March, we've got the combination of the planets moving into Aries and this astrological new year beginning and a break from the cloud of retrograde energy. So that means if you have to do something important, if you have to launch something, if you had something that you couldn't get out in the time frame before the retrograde started, then from March 30th through April 9th, you have a window completely clear of the retrogrades, plus with a massive amount of force from the Aries movement to give you zest and push you forward. So this month might continue to be a little bit, we'll say, I don't want to say heavy emotionally because it doesn't have to be bad emotions. It's just a month when there's a lot of Pisces energy, and you know how Pisces energy is better than anybody else. So it is going to be a very emotional month, a very internal month for the most part, but as we get closer towards the end of the month, you'll notice this kind of popping out, this, coming up for air, and it's all very exciting. So for Pisces placements, we've got the third month in a row where there's just been some really, really extra sweet things going on because of how the planets are moving compared to your placement. So everything in astrology is mathematical, and whether an angle affects us in an easier way or a harder way has to do with the actual mathematical angle. So when there are planets moving in a nice angle to your placement, as they have been for the last couple of months, as they will continue to do in March, then it can just help ease any challenges that come up. It can help bring sweet things and more harmony and grace in your life. So Venus and Mars are both moving through an Earth sign this month, which is creating this 60-degree angle with Pisces. So more opportunities for you to do something, to take action, and even though the retrograde is not always the best time to take permanent, decisive, long-term action, there are plenty of things you can do throughout the month for little steps, or just getting some stuff done, or taking care of some things. And then as you move towards the end of the month, that's going to be when you want to, if you've got something bigger or that needs more clarity, that will be better for you. But this is an angle that will require you to do something. Okay, so whenever we feature these angles, I like to mention it. I call it the ingredients on a counter aspect, where you've got ingredients on a counter this month and you may have to make something with them rather than just delight in the fact that, wow, look at all those yummy things on the counter. You might have to turn them into something. Okay, so the onus might be on you to take some action. But the rule kind of this month is, if you're not completely certain about which action to take, then you want to wait a little bit, okay, until the end of the month, beginning of April. So that's how this goes. Okay, so I'm calling the theme of this month is mega money news, okay? For different signs at different times, the money house is aspected, and that's what's happening for Pisces this month, okay? So there's this aspect in the sky where Venus, that rules money and love, and Uranus, the ruler of surprises and things that come out of the blue, are going to get together. They'll be exactly at the same point in the sky. And for everybody in the cosmos, it can cause money news because Taurus, which is where they will be coming together in, is a money house. But for Pisces, this has extra oomph because it's also going to happen in the second house that's ruled by Taurus. So the odds are even greater that very important money news, very important love news, could be both, will come in. Now this can be for better or worse. This can be, surprises that are jolts that we don't like, but they can be surprises that are jolts that we do like. It can create excitement. It can create something new, new opportunities, and definitely the energy of something coming from the blue. So that energy is going to be very strong in the days around March 8th. So, sometimes people feel it 3 days before, 3 days after with this particular lineup. So just kind of look out between around March 5th and March 11th especially, but sometimes people could see it a little sooner or later to look for your money news. Now, remember at this point, Mercury is still, is actually retrograde and is about to turn direct. So if news comes in, just maybe wait a little bit if you can to decide what you're going to actually do with it, or with the money or with the love news or whatever it is that comes in. Okay, so some other important dates to note are the astrological new year. Okay, so March 19th is when the sun moves into Aries, which starts our astrological new year. And with our calendar system, it places January as the new year, and sometimes it feels like a new year, like this year, 2020. January really did feel like a new year. There were so many things that came together that made it feel like new things. But it's not always like that. But what does pretty much consistently feel new is this astrological new year, because it's the Aries energy is the force of individuation, it's called. Okay, so Aries energy springs from the Pisces soup. The Pisces energy is where everything is one, everything is abstract, everything, is connected. And then the movement into Aries is the individuation. So it's like the springing of the individual out of the cosmic soup. That's what that represents. So that's why this time of year is really exciting for new things, breaking out of norm, breaking out of routines, having more zest, having more oomph, having more energy. So hopefully those things will manifest for you. Now, because of the movement of Venus and Mars through the earth signs, this can also give you a lot of motivation to take important action, to not procrastinate, and to do something. And if you only know, you're clear about one thing, then you just take those steps, and then the rest of the steps will reveal themselves in front of you. But this is actually a pretty action-oriented time for you, especially as we move towards the middle and end of the month. On March 24th, we have the new moon in Aries. And so this is like the big kickoff astrological New Year party. So the party starts on the 19th, but then there's the big kickoff party on the 24th. The days around the 24th, and do always remember that because you all are in different time zones and some of you are completely across the world, that when I give you dates, that could be different depending on your time zone. So just kind of loosely know the days around the date I'm talking about could be relevant, okay? So the days around March 24th are some of the best in the whole year for vision boards. Vision boards are where you either virtually online or you cut out magazine pictures of the essence of something that you want more in your life. It could be used for manifestation of something specific, like a new car and a certain new car. Or it could be used for the essence of something. So like a happy couple, parents with children, to have more joy or fun, or, it doesn't have to be something specific. It can be like an energy that you want to experience, peace or something like that, more of in your life. And the universe is particularly receptive to your visions and your seed planting at this time. So those of you who are into that stuff, you want to take advantage of this time and be planning in the time before then, so that on the day you can, make your board and get yourself all situated. Okay, so one of the most important things that is going on this month, and you'll be hearing this as a big hullabaloo, is that Saturn is moving into Aquarius. Okay, so I want to talk about this quite a bit because this is really important. So when you're hearing people talk about Saturn moving into Aquarius and moving to a different area of your chart, what you may not be hearing, I don't really know what people are saying, I'm just assuming because this is a lot more detail and I'm going to just lay it out for you. Saturn is going to move into Aquarius, but it's only going to get through the first degree before it goes retrograde and goes back into Cap. Okay, so that means that any types of changes that may be suggested you may have, any types of lessons or storylines that is suggested that you may have, there could be a very drastically extended timeline as to when you will actually see this. Because even for those of you early in the sign, and this is when knowing where you are in the sign spectrum really matters when we're talking about a planet that takes between 28 to 30 years to get around. when it gets to one part in the chart of someone who's early in the sign, it might not get to that same point in the chart for you all, and towards the middle or the end of the sign for years. And that's what's happening right now. Okay, so I am going to talk about the energies of Saturn moving into the 12th house. But know that this is going to be, first of all, like a theme that starts to be suggested this year. But then once we get so it'll be March, April, May, June that it will be there. And then it will go backwards, and it won't be until December, even for those of you right at the beginning of the sign. We'll say February born are really the ones that are most going to be affected this year with Saturn moving into the 12th house. Because the rest of you, so March born Pisces, you're not going to have it touch that 12th house until the middle of 2021. And that's just for those of you at the beginning of the month of March. If you are, the deeper you get into March for your birthday, and if you're watching for your rising sign for Pisces or moon Pisces, then the way this translates to the degrees is 0 to 9 degrees are early people. So when I talk about February born, I'm also talking about you all with 0 to 9 degree placement, okay? So you all in that time frame are only going to be experiencing these things, really, okay? The rest of you, so 10 to 29 degrees placements of Pisces and March born, the things we're going to discuss about the 12th house, you might get some little hints about it, okay? Because from the whole house perspective, there would be a storyline beginning. But the brunt of it is going to be staggered, okay? So I'm going to go into some detail also about what Saturn still in the 11th house looks like, because most of you are actually going to still have that storyline, even though there's this hullabaloo about, okay, Saturn's here now and it brings all these new things, and not exactly. All right, so to understand the movement of Saturn, we have to understand what the spectrum of Saturn is. Every sign, every placement, every house has a range of potential expressions from lowest to highest. There are difficult things that go along with each planet. There are exciting, awesome things that go along with each planet. And any of those catchphrases or themes in that spectrum, Saturn can bring in at this time. Okay, so Saturn's lower vibration or lower experience is hardships, difficulties, burdens, heaviness, stodgy, slow moving energy, things taking forever, and it's going slow and you want it to hurry up and it's years and it's taking forever. Okay, so those are the challenging aspects, and they could be very depressive, emotionally and mentally and physically sometimes, and spiritually sometimes. But the higher version of Saturn is pure manifestation, the actual creating something from nothing, and here it is, you have something, materializing, developing financial and other security, testing foundations to strengthen them for increased growth. So a Saturn cycle can bring major outcomes, major manifestations, major accomplishments, and major progress. And that usually tends to happen when you're honoring what Saturn wants you to do, which is work hard, be disciplined, be consistent, and just keep doing it. That's what Saturn wants. All right, so now let's talk about where it's going. And so again, you 0 to 9 degrees or February born, this is going to be most current for you. You'll see these themes coming up, and you might have even started feeling them come up at the end of 2019. I see even 6 to 9 months sometimes before a sign gets where, or a planet gets where it's going, you see some whispers. So you might have seen some hints of this. But you all in the March born or 10 to 29 degrees, don't stop paying attention, because this is going to come for you. And if you know that it's going to come, you can be doing things before the time it comes to prepare to hopefully make it easier. And so you can get the better end of the spectrum, okay? Saturn moving through the 12th house puts heaviness on the mind space, okay? So it puts, what it really wants you to do is to master your mind. Of course, it's going to be, a rare person in this earth plane is going to actually completely master their mind, But making steps towards mastering your mind, meditation, clearing out junk that's in there. Part of mind mastery comes from clearing out the rubbish, clearing out the ancestral programming, clearing out the trauma, clearing out the fears, clearing out the addictions. So any work that any Pisces placement can do on doing any of these things is going to help you when it actually happens if you're not in that early bucket. So what Saturn really wants is for you to face your fears, for you to, use mantras, use meditation, use hypnosis, use past life regression, use therapy, use meditation, healing, prayer, anything like that, psychological focus, subliminal programming, anything that you do that takes the power of your subconscious mind and makes you be a major manifester. That's what it wants. And if you use it that way, you can up your manifestation game in the most amazing way. It also wants you to master your dreams and work with them, because the more you work with your dreams, the more you're in touch with your subconscious mind, the more you're able to access these pieces. Okay, so for the rest of you, so March born, 10 to 29 degrees, you're still going to have the 11th house featured. Okay, now those of you in the early bucket, you still pay attention now too, because when that retrograde occurs after June, you're going to have it come back into your 11th house as well. All right, so this piece is going to be true for you as well. It's going on at the same time as the other themes in the 12th house. Okay, so Saturn in the 11th house puts your friendships and your acquaintances to the test. Okay, so obviously you've been going through this already. So the things that are continuing are things that you've already been having happen for the most part. You may be reconsidering your friendships. You may be reconsidering your relationship with social media. You may reconsider your relationships with groups or with organizations. The ones that pass the tests are going to get strengthened and get stronger, and wonderful things can manifest from them. And the ones that don't pass the tests are going to be out of there. Okay, so it puts pressure, 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 pressure. Now, there are other ways that this can manifest, like you could have friends or acquaintances that are going through a hard time, because Saturn could be making the hardships come to them and you're in a supportive role or you're helping them. This energy can also be making you define your internet presence. The 11th house is the internet, and many people have been over this time. Maybe you didn't know that this is what was going on, but if you've been, doing anything with getting your presence out there, Saturn could have been coaxing you to do that, to take your vision, make it a form, make a website, make a portal for where people can connect with you with the things that you're offering. So it's a really good way to use the energy to continue feeling like you're doing your purpose and showing up for working with groups or working with the internet. This also rules inventions, and it rules anything technological and forward thinking. And astrology is in here too. Astrology fits into two of the houses, and this is one of them. So if you've been studying astrology and going deeper into it, this energy, you could be using it for that. So, and that 11th house that Saturn is still going to be busy in is really busy with all kinds of other planets too, especially for those of you, all of you except the last 10 days of the sign, or the last 20 to 29 degree bucket, we'll say. You all have a super full 11th house, and the late degree placements, you're still having it too, but there are less planets there at this time. Okay, so let me just check to make sure there was everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, birthdays, of course. So when you have your birthday, or if you're watching for your moon or rising sign, when the sun gets over your moon or over your rising sign, it's like a new rebirth. And it's exciting because it matches this new energy and, clean slate, clearing out, starting new, trying different things. And it's very magical. So on your birthday, you get 10 birthday wishes. So says brilliant astrologer Jan Spiller, who's my favorite astrologer. And she says you get your 10 wishes. Okay, so you write them down, you say them out loud, you feel them as if they've already come true. If you want more help on how to use astrological power periods for manifestation, you can search for Making Wishes Come True, Annie, and you'll get my video where I go into lots more details about that. But just make sure that you take your birthday wishes, you use them, because the sun in the sky represents what we want. It's our desire. So when the sun in the sky gets back to the same point that it was at in the chart when you were born, the portal for your desires are opened. It's like the sun energies getting together and it creates a portal for desires. That's where birthday wishes come from. They're astrological. So you want to take advantage of that. Now, what happens in the weeks before your birthday, and again, this is going to be staggered for all of you depending on when your birthday is. If your birthday is at the end of February, then for like all of the beginning of February, maybe even the end of January, you're going to have the sun moving through your 12th house. I'll tell you what that means in a second. Then the later you are into March, that time that the sun's moving through your 12th house is going to be, 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the length of your 12th house in your chart. It could go into, the end of February or the beginning of March. But whatever it is, the weeks before your birthday, before you get this rebirth and the juicy, yummy new stuff and, the springboard for clean slate, the sun moves through the 12th house. And the 12th house is that house I talked about where Saturn is going for the early degree placements as this long-term theme. But it lights up. What the sun does is it's like a spotlight. So it can give you spiritual enlightenments. It can reveal hidden things that you wanted to know and that were secrets, and some of the things you don't want to know. But it's like a light in your subconscious mind, or a light in the attic, or a light in a yucky dark place where you look around and you have to dig through some stuff to get at some gold. So a lot of fears, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety for many people will come up in the weeks before their birthday. And they'll think that it's just because, I'm getting older, or reflecting on the last year. And that's partly true. But what's more true is that when the sun puts a bright light in that dark space, you see, creepy crawlers and you see yucky things and you're like, I'm afraid. So just know that that's a finite period of time, and it's purposeful, because the more you see the things you don't want, the more you can use your birthday wishes or your new moon intentions or your, vision board or any of that. So all of you can, fit into this. The more you can see what you want to create by seeing the things that you don't want and what the problems are. So this is a very exciting month again for Pisces, and happy birthday to those of you whose birthdays are occurring. Happy astrological new year. Happy sweet aspects with Pisces planets. Hopefully your mega money positive news will come in, or you'll be able to plant seeds that will result in mega money in the future. And hopefully there's mega love and mega approval and other sweet things that can come from that Uranus Venus combination. So I hope all of that is magical for you. If you'd like to have more resources on what this month and what this time holds and how you can best use the energies, then definitely go to AnnieHelpsYou.com. You can see my very extensive Venus retrograde blog series. And that's going to be very relevant soon, so you'll want to start getting up on those things. You can also see information about Mercury retrograde. You can see all kinds of things, what to do with the new moons and the full moons. And if you want to learn astrology to be a part or all of a professional offering or just for your own self-development, you can also see my course, which is called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, previously known as the Astrology Apprenticeship Program. So you can see that at AnnieHelpsYou.com, or you can go to LUME-Life, L-U-M-E, life.com. All these links are also below the notes, in the notes below the video. So I have all kinds of other courses there, so very exciting things. And so that's LUMELife.com. I would love to see you in my course if you'd like to go deep and learn this astrology stuff more for yourself. Fantastic. You can also get written horoscopes by me at CozyBySweetStarlight.com. CozyBySweetStarlight.com is such a beautiful site. There's all kinds of fun things. It's astrology kissed, as I call it. So it has, tea blends for the planets moving through different signs. It has yoga for the planets moving through different signs. It has how to maximize the sun moving through different signs. It's a wonderland, and plus a beautiful lifestyle website. So I am very excited to also let you know that at the end of March, in this launch period that I told you guys about, like the last couple of days of March and the first 9 days of April, that's going to be your bubbling up, your big open period for your big launches. In that period of time, I'm also launching a kick-ass new astrology book, and I'll tell you about the publisher that is doing that with me, and I'll tell you the name and how you can get it. So be excited. It's really, really cool, and you'll be hearing more about that at the end of March when I launch that in that time period. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.